Welcome to the Saturday Morning Breakfast Mix, where we highlight the highs and lows of a particular Saturday morning cartoon and maybe some weekday ones that I, as well as many of us, grew up with, and to show why these awesome Saturday morning cartoons made weekends and weekdays just the best, and why seeing them now instantly brings back glorious memories of those carefree childhood days. A 1,000 years ago, our moon was home to a great civilization ruled by Queen Serenity. Along with her daughter, Usagi, they brought an era of peace throughout the universe known as the Silver Millennium. Everything was peaceful until the arrival of evil Queen Beryl and her army of the Dark Kingdom. To conquer the moon, Queen Beryl unleashed the entity known as Queen Metaria upon those that would stand on the side of peace and prosperity. As a result, those that lived on the moon were killed, including Queen Serenity's only daughter, never to fully have a chance of a life of her own and experience the wonders of love and friendship. Although her world was destroyed, Queen Serenity's last hope in defeating her foe was the power of the Imperium Silver Crystal and the Crescent Moon Wand, but at a cost, her own life. Using what little strength she had, the Queen sent her daughter, the Moon Princess, and the children of the moon to the planet Earth, where they could have a second chance to live, but have no memories of their past selves. Now the time has come, and Beryl, along with her soldiers, have returned and have set their eyes on the planet Earth. Being the only ones with their memories intact, the Queen's trusted advisors, Luna and Artemis, must find the princess, or all hope for bringing peace once more to the universe will become nothing but a memory. And so, our story begins. Sailor Moon was a Toei Animation-produced anime television series based on the Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon shojo manga, which was written and illustrated by Naoko Takeuchi and was originally serialized in Nakayoshi magazine from 1991 to 1997, with the 52 individual chapters of the series being published in 18-book volumes. The anime series was directed by Junichi Sato, Kunihiko Ikuhara, and Takuya Igarashi. The series premiered in Japan on TV Asahi on March 7, 1992, and ran for 200 episodes until its conclusion on February 8, 1997, before being dubbed into various territories around the world. Sailor Moon's popularity has spawned numerous content outside the manga and anime series, such as 3 films, 39 video games, and numerous soundtracks. Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon consists of 5 separate seasons, each of them called Sailor Moon R, Sailor Moon S, Sailor Moon Super S, and ending with Sailor Moon Sailor Stars. Each season roughly corresponds to one of the 5 major story arcs of the manga, following the same general storyline and including most of the same characters. Resulting from the popularity of the series, DiC Entertainment licensed the first 2 seasons of Sailor Moon for an English language release in the United States and Canada. Once they had gotten the rights, DiC contracted Optimum Productions to dub the anime and hired Bob Summers to compose an alternate musical score. The reason for doing this was to capitalize on the success of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was based on the idea of buying the rights of an already popular Japanese franchise and changing it to appeal to a larger audience. Which is why we had a good portion of Japanese created shows pop up on American and Canadian televisions during the 90s to try and cash in on the Power Rangers success. As the series begins, we meet a young schoolgirl named Usagi Tsukino who meets a talking cat named Luna. Luna gives Usagi the ability to transform into her magical alter ego, Sailor Moon, tasked with locating the Moon Princess and battling the evil forces of the Dark Kingdom. The Dark Kingdom, led by Queen Beryl, summons various monsters in order to sap energy from humans and feed it to an evil entity known as Queen Metaria, while also seeking the Silver Crystal, a gem capable of limitless power. As Usagi battles against the Dark Kingdom, she is joined by other girls also awakening as sailor soldiers. The timid but intelligent Amy Mizuno, the hot-headed Rei Ino, the tomboyish but romantic Makoto Kino, and the aspiring idol Minako Aino. Minako is joined by Artemis, her feline advisor and Luna's partner. The sailor soldiers are often supported by the mysterious Tuxedo Mask, whose civilian form is Mamoru Chiba, a college student whom Usagi eventually becomes romantically involved. After continually defeating the Dark Kingdom and several of its generals, Usagi awakens as the Moon Princess, Princess Serenity, and acquires a silver crystal. However, Mamoru is captured by the Dark Kingdom and brainwashed to work for them. As the first season came to a close, the sailor soldiers were eventually able to pinpoint the location of the Dark Kingdom at the North Pole and travel there. However, Usagi's friends are killed trying to protect her from Queen Beryl's monsters. Usagi faces Mamoru alone and is forced to strike him down. Using the silver crystal, she then faces Queen Beryl, who has fused with Queen Metaria, ultimately defeating her with the help of the fallen sailor soldier spirits and the silver crystal's power. She then uses the last of the silver crystal's power to resurrect the sailor soldiers and Mamoru with one wish that they all get to have a second chance to live their lives once again. Everything on Earth is returned to normal, and no one, except for Luna and Artemis, retain any memories of these events. The series premiered in Canada on August 28th of 1995 on YTV and in first-run syndication in the US on September 11th of the same year, airing for 65 episodes until November 28th, 1995. Despite moderate success in Canada, the US airing struggled with the series originally airing in morning and afternoon time slots, which were considered unsuitable for the target audience they were trying to reach. The series was eventually cancelled due to low ratings. In response, a fan petition garnered over 12,500 signatures was created. In 1997, reruns of the cancelled dub began airing on USA Network as part of their Cartoon Express animation block. That same year, production of the series' English dub was resumed, with the last 17 episodes of the second season, Sailor Moon R, being broadcasted in Canada from September 20th to November 21st, 1997, to wrap up any lingering plot lines. The series finished airing on YTV in January 2004. On June 1st, 1998, reruns of the series began airing on Cartoon Network's weekday afternoon programming block Toonami. Due to the success of these reruns, the remaining 17 episodes also aired on the block. It was then in 1999 that Cloverway Incorporated, the international branch of Toei Company that would specialize in distributing Toei properties for release in different countries, was contracted to produce English-language adaptations of Sailor Moon S and Sailor Moon Super S, with Pioneer Entertainment handling the home video distribution at the time. Their dub of the show features less censorship and was first broadcast on YTV in Canada and later on Toonami in the United States. The dub finished airing on Toonami on September 13, 2002. Did you know that Naoko Takeuchi developed the Sailor Moon anime for one season, but due to the series' popularity, Toei Animation asked Takeuchi to keep drawing her manga and develop more stories and characters to extend the series for a longer run. Because the manga was often published during the anime's production, the anime would only lag the manga by a month or two. As a result, the anime follows the storyline of the manga fairly closely. Because of such popularity amongst not just Japanese audiences, but audiences outside Japan, Sailor Moon has become one of the most famous anime properties in the world. During the original North American run of Sailor Moon, the series was subject to heavy censorship, which resulted in large amounts of removed content and alterations that greatly changed the original work. Much of these changes included altering certain aspects of the show from character names, clothing, scenes, and dialogue. Some scenes of brief nudity and bathing were also censored, and any type of violence, including violence against animals or children, were also removed. Usagi became Serena, which was inspired by the word serenity. Ami stayed as Ami, while her full name was changed from Ami Mizuno to Amy Anderson. Rei remained the same but had different spelling. Makoto became Lita as a reference to her lightning ability. Minako was shortened to Mina. Mamoru Chiba became Darien Shields. Chibiusa Tsukino became Rini Tsukio. Setsuna Meo, Sailor Uranus, became Trista Meo. Haruka Tenno, Sailor Pluto, became Amara Tenno. Michiru Kaio, Sailor Neptune, became Michelle Kaio. Hotaru Tomoe was one of the only Sailor Scouts that kept her name, while other supporting characters weren't quite so lucky. In fact, some of the original suggested names for the Scouts during the localization process by DiC could have been a lot worse. For instance, Mercury, Blue. Mars, Dana. Jupiter, Sarah and apparently Maggie. Venus, Carrie, then Monica. Tuxedo Mask, or Darien, Mark. And Sailor Moon was originally going to be called Celeste and eventually Victoria. Let's be glad that those names were never chosen, shall we? Now let's discuss other changes of the series that happened during its run in Canada and the United States. More importantly, certain characters' sexual appearances and lifestyles. Homosexual characters, for example, Zoisite, was originally a male character in its original Japanese anime and manga and was in a relationship with Malachite, until the decision was made to change Zoisite from a male character into a female. Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune were also censored, with the two being explained as relatives, in this case cousins, rather than lovers. Since we're on this, did you know that the original Sailor Moon was actually a sequel to the previous Sailor Senshi? Codenamed Sailor V was a manga series written and illustrated by Naoko Takeuchi and is the predecessor to Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon. The manga was serialized from 1991 to 1997 and followed the adventures of Minako Aino as Sailor V before she teamed up with the other members of the Sailor Senshi. The anime pays homage to this by having Sailor V show up in posters and in video games as a pop culture icon of sorts that all girls want to become. Also, the basic idea for the second season, introducing the daughter of Sailor Moon from the future, Chibiusa, came from her editor, Fumio Osano. Now let's discuss one of the most interesting character changes in the Sailor Moon universe that was created by Toei Animation and not its creator. The Sailor Starlights that were introduced in the Sailor Star season were Sailor Senshi that would change gender upon transformation. In the Japanese manga, Sailor Star Maker, Healer, and Fighter only dressed up like guys as a disguise. They did this in order to gain popularity as the boy band they created for themselves, the Three Lights. The anime's portrayal of these characters were not a decision by the series creator Naoko Takeuchi. She was against the idea because it broke the rules she had about Sailor Scouts only being female. Many rumors came about that the reason Sailor Stars was not brought over to the States was because they feared that their American audiences would not be acceptable of transgender characters in an animated program, but the real reason was that Toei Animation froze the licensing of Sailor Moon outside of Japan in 2004, resulting in Sailor Stars never being able to be distributed amongst the international audiences, and did not unfreeze this license until 2010. Currently, the license belongs to Viz Media, with Pioneer being the last to hold the rights before Toei froze the license. Viz and Pioneer's redubs have addressed many of the censorship issues that were originally produced by Optimum Productions and required by DiC, with the uncut releases preserving the integrity of the original Japanese release. Hopefully this means that Viz will be able to finally bring Sailor Stars to the masses once and for all. Now, I know some of you will have problems with localization of anime and certain changes studios will make when a foreign product is brought to an American audience. But all these attempts fail in comparison to what Toon makers wanted to do with the series if they had gotten the rights instead of DiC. Toon makers wanted to produce an American live-action animated hybrid adaptation of Sailor Moon. The show would have real girls that would transform into cartoon characters in a way to Americanize the successful Japanese franchise. Many would witness the horror when a presentation of the Sailor Moon we could have gotten was made at Anime Expo 1998, and from the look of some of these clips, I'm glad that DiC got the license instead of them. The pilot was made and created in late 1993 and does exist. In addition to at least 3 more episodes of the project were produced in hopes of being picked up for airing on the Fox network in the fall of 1994. Luckily, the deal never happened and DiC got the rights. Surprisingly enough, storyboard art pieces, original animation cells, and a partial script of the pilot were discovered in 2012 after a former Toon Maker's employee had his storage locker auctioned off, with the buyer releasing the images online. Pages of the script with dialogue and notes can be found online. Somewhere on VHS or bootleg DVDs exists a full 17-minute pilot, and to be honest, I'm curious to watch it. The original series starts with Usagi growing from an emotional middle school girl to a responsible young adult. Some might say that the series was a monster of the day type of formula, but not many series brought so much emotional weight to the characters' situations or choices that they made. I will admit, I'm a big fan of the series. I remember when I first saw these series back in 1992 when I first happened upon an episode at 7:30 a.m. on a random Saturday morning on Fox television. It was the second episode of the second series, Sailor Moon R, and it only aired once, then never again, but always on my mind to what show this was. It wasn't until later that I stumbled upon an article on this up-and-coming hot series in a TV guide-like circular that came with the Sunday paper. Little did I know that this series would literally change the world of anime fandom as I and the world knew it. I remember seeing this at 6:30 in the morning on Channel 11 before it became the WB or the CW and was instantly hooked. It all seemed innocent enough. The original series is a fun, if slightly childish romance, which had all the elements to make a successful magical girl show without being stereotypical. Seeing a group of 14-year-old girls go into battle with ridiculous altered versions of their school uniforms was both charming and hilarious. The animation quality was surprisingly good for early 90s TV animation, and the soundtrack was catchy and captured the mood perfectly. And it had a great story to boot, with some memorable moments and characters. Sailor Moon truly has something for everyone. It has exciting fight scenes for the action fans, with just the right amount of romance and some memorable characters that people could come to care for very deeply. That made it stand out so much that it focuses more on the characters themselves than the obligatory monster of the week type formula, especially its main character, Usagi. Usagi was not your regular run-of-the-mill magical girl. In most previous magical girl shows, the heroine is given magical powers, but are primarily told to have fun with them and to do what they please, which was why in so many of those shows they would transform into models or pop stars. They use these abilities to live out their dreams, but for Usagi, it's slightly different. Usagi wants nothing more than to hang out at the video arcade with her friends, eating insanely amounts of food, and flirt with cute guys. She is suddenly forced to grow up when she should be living her childhood. What Japanese child or any teenager for that matter wouldn't relate to that? By the end of the series, Usagi and her friends were rewarded for all the battles they had encountered. The world was saved and her dream came true. She was allowed to be young forever with the one she loved and live the life she wanted with her closest friends. By then the series ended in Japan, but had a rebirth of sorts when it arrived to American shores and became an instant underground hit. Although originally it did not last long, it was the support of its fans that prompted DiC to return and expand on its run of the series. This series had brought a lot of attention to anime fandom in general in North America, especially in the 90s when its appeal was at an all-time high. Sailor Moon is one of the most recognizable characters in anime, and it truly deserves its popularity. It appeals on such a wide level that everyone has something they can like from it and enjoy it. At its heart, Sailor Moon is the story of a girl striving for the balance between her responsibilities and the life she wants for herself. A true friend to those she cares for, and a protector of those that believe in love and justice. For the good of mankind, Sailor Moon and her friends are there to punish those who are against love, justice, intellect, passion, courage, and beauty. A show that was so popular that many spin-offs were created, such as a live musical series and a live action series. And with the rebirth of the series with Sailor Moon Crystal, it does not seem that evil stands a chance. Thank you so much, and remember, when it comes to cartoons we grew up with, that to truly appreciate something, you have to accept its strengths and its faults, no matter what they are, because when that happens, you can appreciate how amazing it was and how amazing it continues to be. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all next time.